What if I told you the greatest industrial empires in history were built by people the world laughed at? The world forgot them. They didn't forget themselves. Some were factory boys earning $1 a week. Some were refugees fleeing war. Some were orphans with no roof, no hope, no future. The world counted them out, but they didn't. They clawed their way into industries controlled by giants and rewrote the rules. These are the billionaires who rose from zero and reshaped the planet. They had nothing, yet built everything. Before they built empires, before their names became synonymous with steel, oil, mining, fashion, and global industry, every one of these billionaires had one thing in common. They started with nothing. No money, no connections, no safety nets, just hunger, just grit, just a refusal to die ordinary. This is the untold truth of 10 industrial giants who crawled out of poverty and built the world we live in today. Let's explore them one after the other. Number 1. Andrew Carnegie, from factory boy to steel titan. Carnegie arrived in America as a poor Scottish immigrant with no education, no connections, and no path ahead. He worked brutal 12-hour shifts as a bobbin boy in a textile mill for $1.20 a week. But he refused to stay trapped there. He taught himself telegraphy, climbed into the railroad industry, and invested every saved cent into iron and steel. Carnegie's rise proves one thing. Self-education is the greatest equalizer. Learn faster than everyone else, and the world eventually learns your name. Number 2. Henry Ford, the farm boy, who re-engineered the world. Ford grew up on a farm with no electricity, no engineering training, and no formal schooling. His childhood was filled with chores, not opportunities, but he was restless, curious, obsessed with machines. He worked as a machinist in Detroit, built his first engine in a tiny shed behind his house, and began experimenting with cars when America still believed horses were the future. His first 2 companies failed. Investors mocked his ridiculous dream of an assembly line. Bankruptcy nearly destroyed him, but Ford refused to quit. He kept refining, improving, simplifying, until he reduced car building time from 12 hours to just 90 minutes. Ford proved that innovation isn't luck. It's relentless refinement. Number 3. Ingvar Kamprad, the poor Swedish boy who built IKEA. Kamprad's childhood was spent on a struggling rural farm in Sweden. At just 5 years old, he began selling matches door to door to help his family survive. He learned young that buying wholesale and selling retail could stretch a single coin into 10. By 17, he launched IKEA with nothing but determination and simple ideas. Competitors attacked him. Scandinavian unions pushed against him. Suppliers boycotted him. But Kamprad was relentless. He introduced flat-pack furniture, cheap to make, cheap to ship, easy for customers to assemble. That one idea revolutionized global retail and built an empire. Kamprad proved that if you solve one expensive problem for the customer, they will never forget you. Number 4. Li Ka-shing, the war refugee who became Asia's industrial Superman. Li Ka-shing fled to Hong Kong as a child after the Japanese invasion of China, leaving everything behind. He worked 16-hour days in a plastics factory with no schooling, no safety, and no future guaranteed. But hardship sharpened him. He saved obsessively and started a small plastics workshop. While others panicked during economic crashes, Li invested, quietly, aggressively, fearlessly. He grew from a refugee to a titan controlling ports, telecoms, real estate, and retail. Li proved one timeless truth. When the world is afraid, the bold become wealthy. Number 5. Andrew Forrest, the dyslexic farm boy who built a mining empire. Forrest grew up in rural Australia, poor, dyslexic, and constantly underestimated. The classroom wasn't made for him, but the world of industry was waiting. He entered the mining sector with borrowed money and massive personal risk. His early ventures failed. Bankruptcy hovered over him more than once. Giants dominated the field, and no one believed a farm boy could compete. Yet Forrest bet everything on iron ore at a time when analysts dismissed it. His conviction paid off. He built one of the world's largest mining companies and proved that massive risk produces massive reward if you understand your industry deeper than anyone else. Number 6. Roman Abramovich, the Soviet orphan who built industrial conglomerates. Abramovich lost both parents before he turned 3. He grew up in a cramped Soviet apartment, raised by relatives, with poverty shaping every moment of his life. But he refused to let hardship decide his future. He started small, selling rubber ducks from his dorm room, then moved into trading industrial goods and oil. The industry was brutal. Competition was ruthless. Government scrutiny was constant. But Abramovich mastered negotiation, reinvested every ruble, and expanded from nothing to a vast industrial empire. His story shows that your beginnings don't decide your destiny. Your choices do. Number 7. Aliko Dangote, the young trader who became Africa's industrial giant. Dangote didn't inherit billions. He borrowed $3,000 from an uncle to start trading rice and sugar on the streets of Kano. Nigeria's unstable economy, inflation, and supply chain breakdowns made survival nearly impossible. But Dangote was strategic. He reinvested every profit into factories, cement, sugar, flour, reducing reliance on imports and taking control of entire supply chains. Today, he is Africa's most influential industrialist. His rise proves that when you control your supply chain, you control your destiny. Number 8. John Paul DeJoria, the homeless man who built hair care and industrial brands. DeJoria grew up in a rough neighborhood, selling newspapers at 9 just to help his family. As an adult, he became homeless, living in a car, working as a janitor, and struggling to survive. But he never gave up. With just $700, he co-founded Paul Mitchell Hair Care. Rejection followed him everywhere. Salons slammed their doors. Investors ignored him. But he pushed forward, one handshake, one relationship, one customer at a time. DeJoria proved that rejection isn't the enemy. Quitting is. Number 9. Du Wan Chong, the immigrant gas station worker who built a fashion empire. When Chong arrived in America, he had no English, no capital, and no path forward. He worked 3 jobs: janitor, coffee shop attendant, gas station worker, saving every dollar he could. With those savings, he opened a tiny store called Forever 21. He watched customers like a scientist, noticing patterns, trends, spending habits, and preferences others ignored. He priced tightly, moved inventory fast, and scaled aggressively. His journey proves that when you study your customer relentlessly, you build wealth relentlessly. Number 10. Andy Bechtolsheim, the immigrant engineer who helped create Silicon Valley. Bechtolsheim grew up in a rural German village, far from technology, computers, or opportunity. But his curiosity was unstoppable. He built his first computer from spare parts long before personal computers existed. That homemade machine caught the attention of Stanford researchers who helped him launch Sun Microsystems. He had no funding, no connections, and no market yet for workstation computers. But he built what the future would need, not what the present understood. Bechtolsheim proved that real visionaries create markets before the world knows it needs them. But here's the truth these 10 industrialists all prove. You don't need perfect conditions to change your life. You don't need money, connections, or a fancy degree to begin. You only need one thing, a starting point. And if you've been waiting for a place to start, this is it. Because right now, there is a brand new opportunity designed for people who feel they have no time, no experience, and no idea where to begin. Whether you're a busy mom, a nurse pulling long shifts, a single parent, a teen, a retiree, or even a flight attendant constantly on the move, you can do this. A 100% free live online masterclass is revealing. The zero-cost, three-step system anyone can use to make over $10,000 plus per month in passive income from home. No tech skills, no experience, and no upfront expenses. Yes, it's completely free. Yes, it's beginner-friendly. And yes, you can get started today. Just click the link in the description to join the training. Because if these 10 billionaires could build empires from nothing, you can build your own path to freedom starting right where you are. A lesson to learn. These 10 industrialists teach one undeniable lesson. Wealth is not built from advantage. It is built from resilience, reinvention, obsession with improvement, strategic risk, the refusal to quit. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. See you in the next video.